Have you ever written a message in a bottle and tossed it into the ocean? It's a romantic idea, a tiny hope that someone, somewhere, someday will find your words. Now, what if that message wasn't just a friendly hello? What if it was a life or death warning? And what if the ocean wasn't water, but the vast, deep expanse of time itself? What if you had to send a warning 10,000 years into the future? This isn't science fiction. It tests a very real problem that some of the smartest people on Earth are trying to solve right now. The problem is nuclear waste. The materials we've created to power our world will remain dangerously radioactive for thousands upon thousands of years, longer than any civilization in recorded history has ever existed. The pyramids of Giza are less than 5,000 years old. We're talking about a timeline twice as long as that. So, how do you tell our distant descendants, do not dig here? This place is not a place of honor. What is here is dangerous and repulsive to us. This is the challenge of nuclear semiotics, or long-term literacy. It's one of the most profound communication puzzles humanity has ever faced. Let's think about it. How would you do it? You might think, just write a sign. But what language would you use? English? Mandarin? Spanish? Languages evolve and die out. Think about Old English. Most of us can't read Beowulf in its original form, and that's only about 1,000 years old. In 10,000 years, every language we speak today could be as indecipherable as ancient hieroglyphs are to someone without a Rosetta Stone. So, words are out. What about symbols? We use the skull and crossbones, or the biohazard symbol, or the radiation trefoil. These seem universal, right? But are they really? A skull and crossbones might mean poison to us, but to a future culture, it could be a symbol of pirates, adventure, or even resurrection. Symbols are culturally dependent. Their meanings can flip completely over time. What we see as a clear keep-out sign could become a mysterious, alluring symbol that actually invites curiosity. And for a place filled with deadly radiation, curiosity is the last thing you want to encourage. This very problem led the US government to assemble a team of experts in 1981. This panel, called the Human Interference Task Force, brought together physicists, anthropologists, linguists, artists, and futurists to brainstorm solutions. Their proposals were as creative as they were unsettling, and they revealed just how difficult this task is. One of the most famous ideas came from two semioticians, Thomas Sibioc and Francois Best. Their proposal was to create something called an atomic priesthood. This would be an elite, self-sustaining group of people, like a modern-day clergy, whose sole purpose would be to preserve the knowledge of the nuclear waste sites. They would pass down the information through rituals, myths, and legends, creating a culture of fear and taboo around these specific locations. They would tell stories of curses, of sickness, of gods who punished those who It's a fascinating, almost medieval solution to a very modern problem, but it's also fragile. What if the priesthood dies out? What if their message gets distorted over the centuries, turning a warning into a holy quest? Another set of ideas focused on hostile architecture, making the site itself communicate the danger. Imagine a landscape of giant, sharp, black thorns made of concrete or granite, jutting out of the ground at odd angles, making the area physically difficult and unpleasant to navigate. Picture a menacing earthworks project with huge, ominous mounds of earth shaped in patterns that evoke a sense of sickness or danger, visible even from a distance. The idea is to create a non-verbal, gut-level feeling of wrongness. You wouldn't need to read a sign to know that this place is not welcoming. You would feel it in your bones. Architect Michael Brill, another member of the task force, proposed a message from the landscape. This would involve a central marker room, buried but accessible, containing detailed information in multiple formats. Surrounding this would be a series of concentric rings. The outermost ring might be those menacing earthworks. The next ring could be a field of forbidding blocks. Giant, black-dyed granite cubes, too large to be moved, easily, too hot in the sun, and too cold in the winter, creating a desolate, unusable space. The goal is to make the area so ugly so useless, and so unsettling that no one would ever want to build a house there or plant a farm. The landscape itself becomes the first layer of the warning. But even these physical structures can be misinterpreted. Future archaeologists might see these massive structures as monuments, like Stonehenge or the Nazca Lines. They might think it's a burial ground for kings or a place of great spiritual significance, drawing them in rather than repelling them. So, the experts pushed further. What if the message wasn't just on the surface, but encoded in life itself? This is where it gets really futuristic. One proposal was to use ray cats. The idea was to genetically engineer cats or some other common animal that lives alongside humans so that their fur would change color in the presence of radiation. An old folk rhyme or nursery song could be created to go along with it. If the cat glows green, stay away, if you know what I mean. The hope is that the rhyme and the biological signal would co-evolve with future human societies, creating a living, self-replicating warning system. It's a brilliant, but also ethically complex idea. Do we have the right to create a new species just to serve as our eternal watchdogs? Taking it a step further, some have even suggested encoding the warning directly into the DNA of hardy radiation-resistant plants that would be grown on the site. The message, perhaps a simplified version of the periodic table and diagrams of atomic danger, would be embedded in there. Junk. Millennia. Future scientists with the ability to sequence genomes could then discover our message, like a hidden file on a biological hard drive. As you can see, there are no easy answers. Every solution has a potential flaw, a way for our message to be lost or twisted. This challenge forces us to confront our own mortality, not as individuals, but as a civilization. It makes us question the permanence of everything we create: our languages, our symbols, our cultures, and our knowledge. Ultimately, the most likely solution will be a combination of these ideas, a belt and suspenders approach. We'll likely see layers of communication, a menacing, physically hostile landscape, giant monuments engraved with simple pictograms showing human figures getting sick and dying near a symbol for the site, buried time capsules with information translated into every major modern language and illustrated with diagrams, and perhaps a marker that points to the stars, indicating the half-life of elements, a universal clock that any advanced civilization could understand. The quest for long-term literacy is a humbling one. It's a message in a bottle thrown into the deepest part of the temporal ocean. We are trying to speak to a future we cannot possibly imagine, to a people who may not think, speak, or feel anything like us. It is an act of profound responsibility and a testament to our hope that even across 10,000 years, we can still care for the safety of those who come after us. It's our generation's attempt to shout a warning across the abyss of time. The question is, will anyone be there to hear it? Thank you so much for watching. This is a topic that really blows my mind, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think is the best way to send a message to the year 12,080? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into deep time, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more explorations of fascinating ideas. See you next time.